Hi everyone, happy Friday. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight to your news at 9. A federal judge sentences a Southwest Missouri man to prison for sexual activity with a minor.
There's been a lot of news lately about the ban on evictions. But what can you do right now if you owe months or even a year in back rent? I'm Zach Dodge with a few things coming up.
The White House says the disappointing monthly economic report still gives them some reason to celebrate, but Republicans aren't buying it. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. I'll have more on the numbers coming up.
Nick Kelly has weather tonight. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. A Cartledge Junction, Missouri man gets prison time for transporting a Kansas minor across state lines for sexual activity. 31-year-old Nathan Belcher was sentenced by a federal judge to 12 years in prison without parole. Officials say Belcher pled guilty back in 2019 to transporting the minor across state lines and having sexual activity on 2 occasions. Belcher must also serve 20 years supervised release after his 12-year prison sentence. Well, one altercation leads to several charges against a woman in Caney, Kansas. Officials say there that they responded to a domestic disturbance call on Wednesday, found 26-year-old Caddy Kelso. Officials say she was wanted for an outstanding warrant. Police say Kelso was combative both at the scene and at the police department, at one point grabbing an officer's holstered gun. Kelso faces several charges, including resisting arrest, assault on a law enforcement officer, and interference with a law enforcement officer. The Independence, Kansas Police Department says someone died in a house fire today. They're not releasing the name of the victim yet. Crews responded to the fire on North 24th Street this morning. Authorities do not believe the death was caused by, quote, criminal activity. The state fire marshal responded to the scene to assist in this investigation that's happening right now. The federal stay on evictions will continue until July, this after a court ruling saying to end it. That federal eviction moratorium has kept landlords from evicting tenants since last year. But when it does lift, all of the back rents renters have accrued will be due. KOAM Zach Dodge has what experts recommend you do now to save a lot of headache later.
This week, a district judge ruled that the CDC exceeded their authority when putting a ban on evictions in place last year. But following an appeal by the Justice Department, a stay of judgment was put into place, meaning the ban will continue through June. Something that'll give renters time to figure out a plan for when it does end.
These renters who have just been living for free are going to be kind of out of luck anyway, because they are going to owe all the back money that they did owe.
Brian Carberry, the managing editor for Rent.com, says the stay is a temporary reprieve for more than 4 million renters facing eviction in the U.S. But it's just that, temporary.
Some of these renters that are behind are really going to have to start kind of getting in gear and figuring out what they need to do.
Something that could go a long way, he says, is pretty simple. Have a conversation with your landlord and set up a plan for paying that money back.
Most people are human. I mean, everyone's human, but most people are going to understand what you're going through because they've been dealing with financial difficulties too.
There are also some statewide grant programs that could help you get caught back up on your back rent. But experts say the key there is to apply as soon as you can.
They will pay back rent for you, and then going forward, they will pay up to 3 months in advance for rent. So if you have 12 months that you owe and then you need another 3 months, they can potentially pay all of that.
That's the KARA program in Kansas, specifically created for people impacted by the pandemic. And in Missouri, the SAFER program does the exact same thing. SEK CAP also has other programs they're working on, and they want to help.
Give us a call, anybody.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
We have more details on those rental assistance programs on our website. See it right there, KOAMNewsNow.com. SEK CAP will stop accepting applications for its rental assistance program next week. The deadline to apply for rental assistance is on 4 p.m. May 14th. Program assists qualifying individuals and families with rental subsidies and/or security and utility deposits. Doug Hetty is off today. See what I did there? I was about to say Doug Hetty joins us now. Doug Hetty's off today. Meteorologist Nick Kelly. We love him just as much. Joins us now with the
At least somebody does.
Joins us now with the first look at the forecast. A little bit of a dreary day today, but not too bad, really.
Yeah, still temperature-wise, we fared okay, Jordan. After we started cool at 40 this morning, we did hit a high of 66, and you're right, that was an impressive number, despite some scattered showers that we had earlier today. I don't see anything out there right now at 9:05, but earlier today we did have mostly cloudy skies and a good scattering of scattered showers during the morning and early afternoon hours. But our next storm system is ready to come out of the Rockies with the warm front wanting to fire off some additional storms overnight in our northeastern counties. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we're not expecting too crazy from that. Nothing crazy from that, at least. But 57 tomorrow, much of the day, Jordan, tomorrow dry with highs are 81. But I'm tracking another round of strong to maybe severe storms by tomorrow night. We'll touch base on that here in a bit.
Nick Kelly, thanks as always. Heads up, 2 major food brands voluntarily recalling products due to allergy concerns. Listen closely. The FDA says both products pose a serious or even life-threatening risk to those with an allergy or severe sensitivity to almonds or milk. About 1,700 bottles of Hershey's chocolate shell topping that we saw earlier were incorrectly filled with the company's topping that's made with almonds. Meanwhile, select bags of Ruffles, all dressed, were inadvertently filled with another flavor of potato chips, potentially exposing consumers to undeclared milk. Public health officials say they may finally have COVID-19 on the run, with hospitalizations, deaths, and new cases declining rapidly. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri has more from Atlanta.
After more than a year of masks and social distancing, doctors are close to containing the COVID-19 outbreak thanks to vaccines. More than 150 million Americans have gotten at least one shot, and 110 million are fully vaccinated, helping to push infection rates to a 7-month low. We're now averaging about 45,000 new cases per day, a 13% decline from last week. Most of those cases are younger Americans who have been getting vaccinated at a much slower pace than their parents and grandparents.
We have a long way to go to get young Americans vaccinated. Only about 1/5 of 18 to 29-year-olds and less than 1/3 of 30 to 39-year-olds are fully vaccinated.
A big part of reaching herd immunity will be expanding access. In the coming days, the FDA is expected to give the green light to start using Pfizer's vaccine on 12 through 15-year-olds. And the White House says they're already geared up to get shots in arms.
Over 15,000 local pharmacies will be ready to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds to make it as easy and convenient for adolescents to get vaccinated.
Meanwhile, as CDC guidelines change, a growing number of states are dropping their public mask mandates, with some doctors saying it could have a big impact on vaccination rates.
We need a sense of liberation, and I think that will bring people around. They'll see, hey, that other person got the vaccine. They're doing great. They're safe. Maybe I should get one too.
White House officials say they expect to administer at least another 100 million doses between now and the 4th of July. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
A disappointing monthly economic report by the Labor Department still has the White House hopeful that they're on the right track to economic recovery. But Republicans say the administration's massive spending plans are making the situation worse. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has the latest now from D.C.
And we knew this wouldn't be a sprint, it'd be a marathon. Quite frankly, we're moving more rapidly than I thought we would.
The White House putting their spin on what economists say were disappointing numbers from the Labor Department. In April, 266,000 jobs were added, far fewer than the previous month and what was predicted.
Under normal circumstances, 266,000 jobs would be a great day.
The unemployment rate also jumped slightly from 6% to 6.1%.
I believe we will reach full employment next year. But today's numbers also show that we're not yet finished.
The report shows employers have had a hard time finding employees to fill open positions. Republicans argue rounds of stimulus checks and enhanced unemployment benefits are encouraging people to stay home. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said, quote, President Biden is not fixing a crisis but creating new ones. Republicans say that problem is dependence on the government.
Systematically paying unemployment benefits that are more than a person makes working doesn't create an environment that's particularly conducive to going back to work.
Democrats say the issue is many families, especially women, cannot fully return to work with their children still learning remotely. That's why President Biden says he wants to pass his 2 spending bills, one which deals with child care.
We have a school and child care crisis in this country that is preventing especially women, from being able to go back to work.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce said the first step to getting people back into the workforce is for lawmakers to take away the extra $300 per week in unemployment. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four-state heroes. Mark Burr served in the U.S. Air Force. Native of Pittsburgh, Burr earned numerous awards, and we are proud to thank and salute First Sergeant Mark Burr. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, a Missouri Southern pitcher breaking a national record. Gonna have those details in sports.
Despite some returning cloud cover and some scattered rain and storms earlier today, we still managed to start the weekend off on a mild note across the region. You can see how we look throughout the day from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. Started out with some fair amount of sun, then we saw the cloud cover really blossom up, and some of those scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms rotated on through. Still, that did not stop temperatures from warming up. Not quite as warm as the upper 60s and near 70 we saw yesterday, but after we started out in the lower to middle 40s, we bounced back into the mid 60s this afternoon, and thankfully we'll trend much warmer for tomorrow before we cool back down for Mother's Day. So kind of a seesaw ride in terms of temperatures based on how we look, but at least we're not seeing anything outside right now on the radar network. However, there is a warm front starting to sneak in from the south and west, and that's going to eventually cause some more scattered storms in our northeastern counties to get going once we get past 10 or 11 o'clock tonight and get into the overnight hours. For now, though, we're not seeing anything. We're quiet in Joplin at 58 degrees, an east breeze at 6, humidity at 67%. In fact, everybody's sitting in the upper 50s to near 60. We're not going to drop off much more from here on out as that next warm front continues to roll on in. I'm thinking maybe mid to upper 50s for overnight lows with mostly cloudy skies in place. With that said, I'm also watching a complex of storms out of the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Those are passing mainly to our south, but it's all part of the same storm system, especially this warm front here. That's going to give us another shot of overnight storms, and this cold front that will want to play a role in tomorrow night's and Sunday morning's thunderstorm chances, along with this upper low helping to aid in those thunderstorm chances. At least we are looking okay as far as temperatures go, sitting mainly into the upper 50s through the overnight, and you can see how we see those scattered storms pop up in our northeastern counties. Not looking at anything severe with those, and those are going to start to rotate out as we go through the day tomorrow. In fact, we are going to see highs topping out right around 81 degrees. Now this is for tomorrow night, a low severe threat, but it's going to be impacting our northern counties. The way this is going to unfold, thunderstorms developing out of central Kansas want to mainly hug the I-70 corridor, but some of those storms on the southern edge could graze our very far northern counties. That's why there's a low severe threat, even though it's for a good portion of the area. So far, we think the better shots for that is north of the US 54 corridor. So we'll keep an eye on those storms from 9 o'clock tomorrow night until 3 a.m. Sunday. And the main threats being hail, wind, and heavy rain, again, grazing our far northern counties, but that is something that we will certainly keep an eye on as we go throughout the next day or so. 81 tomorrow. Any rain chances with that storm system continue on for Sunday morning. Then Sunday afternoon looks dry, but cooler with highs around 70. Some scattered rain chances Monday through Wednesday, Jordan, with highs staying in the 60s. Then we're back to 68 Thursday, and finally 77 on Friday.
Yeah, and see sunshine Thursday. That's always welcomed. A little bit anyway.
It's nice.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. Hey, Mother's Day could be the comeback holiday for restaurants recovering from COVID-19. Nation's Restaurant News says multiple chains will be offering both to-go and dining-in options. And OpenTable says Mother's Day restaurant reservations are up 64% compared with 2019 and are 9 times higher than last year. Whatever you do, okay, there's dining in, dining out. Whatever you do, don't forget about mom, okay? Coming up, the George Floyd murder case.
New federal charges for the former Minneapolis police officers involved in the death of George Floyd. I'm Garrett Tenney with the details coming up.
4 former Minneapolis police officers are now facing additional criminal charges, this time from the Justice Department in connection with the death of George Floyd. Fox News correspondent Garrett Tenney has more.
A federal grand jury in Minnesota indicting 4 former Minneapolis police officers in connection with the death of George Floyd. Court documents unsealed Friday allege the defendants violated George Floyd's constitutional rights in May of 2020.
These issues are not partisan issues. These are Minnesotan issues, and Minnesotans deserve transparency, accountability, and justice within our police departments.
The federal criminal charges come after all 4 officers were previously charged in the state's case related to the incident. Derek Chauvin, who was convicted in April of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death, was also named in a second indictment related to a 2017 incident. The officer is accused of holding a 14-year-old boy by the throat and hitting him multiple times with a flashlight without legal justification during an arrest. Floyd's arrest and death sparked protests nationwide and widespread calls for an end to police brutality and racial inequities. Cell phone video captured by a bystander showed Chauvin pressing his knee into Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, despite Floyd repeatedly shouting that he couldn't breathe.
You can believe your eyes. This wasn't policing. This was murder.
Benjamin Crump, the Floyd family's attorney, says they are encouraged by the new federal charges and are eager to see justice served in this historic case. I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Just ahead, going to continue our look at 4-state staycation ideas with a visit to a unique place highlighting the Pioneer Days.
Share your...
Many 4-state staycation destinations include Grand Lake. It spans 4 counties in northeast Oklahoma with diverse communities dotting its coves and shores. But as KOAM photojournalist Liam Mandelbaum found out, there's one near Grove that's a little more than old-fashioned.
The collection here is phenomenal, and the setting is just beautiful. It's overlooking the lake, and it's really inspirational.
We are at Harbor Village Museum in Grove, Oklahoma. We are a Pioneer Era museum. We have all of our exhibits housed in period piece log cabins. Really, it's very immersive, so you're going to plan to spend the entire day here. It's very history-based, of course, because we are a museum. There's a lot to be learned here.
It also gets into the ecology and the environment because our ancestors didn't live in a disposable society like we do. And so when things wore out, they recycled it or repurposed it into something else. So it ties in with the education on the environment and the ecology as well as the way our ancestors lived day to day.
7 days a week, something's hopping here. We're a hidden gem, of course. I would say so. There are people within 60 miles that have no idea we've been here for 53 years.
Teaching the new about the old, I guess you can say, right? The Harbor Village has everything from live blacksmiths and weavers to butter churning for school groups. So if you'd like to check out this awesome place to go to, they're open from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Thursday through Monday. All right, there's the Puppy Bowl. Now there's the Pupweiser contest. How you can get your dog's mug on Yes Budweiser cans when we come back. Budweiser wants your doggone fun-loving dog to bring some beer cheer and funds for animals. The Beer Giant is sponsoring a Pupweiser contest to look for the best dog face for its beer cans. And it wants your Fido or Fifi to help raise funds for an animal cause. One dog's face will go on Budweiser beer cans ahead of the holiday season, as we're seeing right there. And a portion of the proceeds will go to helping the Pets and People Foundation. To enter, post your pup's pic on social media, link it to hashtag Pupweiser contest. I'll say that again, hashtag Pupweiser contest. You can post by May 9th, and fans can vote between May 10th and May 12th. Good cause, right? At first I was like, that's a weird connection to make, you know, your dog's mug on a beer can, but it's for a good cause. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
It's graduation day for PSU nursing students, and they're about to enter a world still dealing with a deadly pandemic. We'll hear their thoughts on that coming up.
Also going to check out the art crawl happening in Pittsburgh and how some technology is being used to support local musicians. Pitt State ended its spring semester today with a graduation and pinning ceremony for the graduates of the Irene Ransom Bradley School of Nursing. The school's newest nurses, of course, will be entering a world, that continues to deal with this pandemic. KOAM's Mike Mahoney reports.
They may not have graduated in front of a packed auditorium because of COVID-19 precautions, but that wouldn't take away from the special day of PSU's newest class of nursing students. In fact, the current pandemic has many of them all the more eager to get out there and save lives.
Just the sheer amount of people here that are graduating today shows me that we just have people that aren't afraid and are able to get out there.
It is rewarding to be able to get, as soon as fresh out of the gates, we're still in the middle of this pandemic and able to help out.
Not only will these nurses be a great help in the fight against the coronavirus, they're also helping a nation that's dealing with a nursing shortage.
I think it feels really good to be able to graduate and say that I'm going into a profession where we need people.
It took a lot of hard work for these nurses to get here, and the pandemic didn't make things any easier.
The whole virtual semester, when for COVID, kind of hit our area, it was tough. Going from being in person the whole time to going virtual.
But for some graduates like Cindy Miles, that virtual learning had a silver lining. That's because she wants to pursue a career in telehealth.
There was a lot of bureaucratic red tape involved with preventing telehealth from being something that was going forward before, but I think at this point they've realized just how useful it really is.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Congratulations, everyone. Today's PSU nursing graduates included the first nurses to go through the new nurse practitioner residency program. It was made possible by a partnership between Pitt State and the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas. It's art crawl time in Pittsburgh. The usual art walk scheduled for spring was canceled because of the pandemic. As an alternative, the Pittsburgh Art Walk Committee organized this week-long event so people could support local artists while still practicing social distancing.
I think it's an opportunity for local artists to share what they do. I mean, there's really a lot of talented people in Pittsburgh and Southeast Kansas, and it's an opportunity for people to kind of, expose the rest of the community to what they're doing in their own time. There's no real art museums or many art fairs in this area, so the art crawl, I think, is a great way for artists to be recognized.
This is pretty neat. Listen to this. In addition to the physical artwork, businesses participating in the art crawl display QR codes on outside windows linking to songs from local musicians. How about that? The Pittsburgh Art Crawl wraps up tomorrow at 5. Hope City at the ballpark. Hope City Church in Joplin organized this event at Joe Becker Stadium that included some free popcorn, face painting too, obviously, a home run derby, and a movie on the big screen that happened later as well. Just fun. Fun was the name of the game. Well, as this pandemic slows down across the nation, some attorneys and marriage counselors say they expect to see a rise in what's being called gray divorces. Fox's Jessica Formoso in New York explains what this means.
After almost 3 decades of marriage, Bill and Melinda Gates have decided to end their relationship. Their type of divorce has a name, gray divorce, which simply means a split after age 50.
I will say, I think those marriages were already having their issues. It's not like they were so happy right before, and then all of a sudden they decided.
Divorce among middle-aged couples are on the rise. Data shows more than 1 in 4 people over the age of 50 are calling it quits. Jennifer Zucker is the co-founder of Project Soulmate.
In business, I just see a lot more people coming to us that are separated, that are older and are not even divorced yet. And this is the population that we're talking about right now.
She says the pandemic has a lot to do with it. Couples spending more time together and realizing the relationship is not what it used to be.
I think what's happened also for the past years, people just realize like life is too short, and to live a life the rest of your years unhappy, why?
Experts say by the age of 50, many experience major life transitions, like becoming empty nesters.
Now, for the first time since before they had children, the couple are by themselves again. And they are forced to confront each other and look at each other in a new and different way.
Dr. Jephthah Tauzik, a clinical psychologist, says couples can grow apart over the years.
People tend to be healthier now, well into middle age, than before. And they're now looking at the next portion of their lives in a different way.
I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
Well, a bit later, the vice president meeting with Mexico's president.
The Biden administration says there's progress being made at the border when it comes to the surge in migrants. I'm Mal Rivera in Washington with a look at today's tour coming up.
Sure, we had to start this weekend out with quite a bit more cloud cover and even some scattered rain and a couple of thunderstorms, but it still turned out to be a decent day temperature-wise, despite all this cloud cover and even at times scattered rain, a couple storms working over indigo sky in other parts of the area. We did see temperatures go from the lower to middle 40s this morning into the mid-60s this afternoon. I think it will trend warmer tomorrow as a warm front actually starts working in late tonight into tomorrow. And out ahead of it, we did see those scattering of rain and thunderstorms earlier. So far right now we're looking quiet with not much to speak on the radar network, but within the next couple of hours we're going to see another corridor of thunderstorms develop overnight, affecting our northeastern counties as we head into our Saturday. But everyone's quiet for now, especially Joplin sitting at 58 with an east breeze at 6 and the humidity starting to climb back up at 67%. As far as temperatures across the rest of the region, we're mainly in the upper 50s to near 60, and I don't see temperatures dropping out too much more from here on out as that next warm front rolls in. We're thinking mainly mid to upper 50s as we go through the overnight while we wait for our next chance of thunderstorms to roll in. It's not going to be these thunderstorms working across, western and central parts of Oklahoma. Those are going to stay mainly to our south. If we look at the overall surface map, though, it's this warm front. That's going to serve as another mechanism or a focal point, if you will, for additional storms overnight. But as long as we're on this more stable side of the front, the storms we see tonight won't be severe. But the system continues to be a factor in our forecast for tomorrow, especially with this upper low in the Pacific Northwest kicking some more energy our way. That will help to aid in additional thunderstorm chances as we go into tomorrow night. But first, here's how the rest of the night goes. Here we look quiet at 10 o'clock. Then right away at 11, we'll start to see the signs of the thin corridor of thunderstorms popping up again in our northeastern counties. These we are not expecting to be severe, but they can pack a bit of a punch with some moderate to heavy rainfall, small hail, and maybe a random wind gust near 30 or 40 miles per hour. Everybody else stays mostly cloudy and chilly, with most temperatures bottoming out in the upper 50s. Then we're looking quiet for much of the day tomorrow. Partly sunny skies and a good south wind. We'll warm up for sure. 57 in the morning, 75 by noon, and afternoon highs around 81. We look quiet to start Saturday evening out, but look at the thunderstorms developing out in central Kansas. Most of these want to ride the I-70 corridor toward Kansas City, but look how this wants to try and clip our northern counties as we go into late Saturday night into Sunday morning. We'll have to keep an eye on those because they could bring a bit of a severe threat our way, but you saw how many wants to affect areas from the Beta, Fort Scott, Yates Center, and north. So we'll keep an eye on those storms from 9 o'clock tomorrow night until 3 a.m. Sunday for wind, hail, and heavy rainfall. But we still have to deal with some of those lingering rain chances on Sunday morning. Then the rest of Mother's Day is cooler than normal, sure, but we're dry with highs near 70, 60 on Monday. We stay in the 60s with some random rain chances through Wednesday, Jordan. Then we're finally back to 77 on Friday.
All right, Nick Kelly, thank you as always. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern's Zach Parrish is the new Division II career strikeout king. Plus, the Southern softball team opens up the MIAA Conference Tournament against Missouri Western. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
We're here. Register today.
Well, this weekend is the final weekend of the regular season for MIAA baseball. The Missouri Southern Lions are at home for their final 3 games before the conference tournament, hosting Rogers State. Now they're playing 2 today. We're going to get right to it. Huge day for that guy right there, Southern pitcher Zach Parrish. Top of the first, Parrish gets the strikeout, his first of the day. More from him in a moment. Bottom half, Troy Gagnon. Back up the middle, scores Jordan Fitzpatrick. It was a huge inning for Moso. Second time through the lineup, Henry Kuziak with 2 on, clears the fence and left for the 3-run jack. Lions Lions score 11 in the first. Back to Parrish, though. Another strikeout here for the senior. Then, this is the big one. This strikeout here is the 474th career strikeout for Parrish. That's a new Division II all-time record. Southern wins at 12-6. Zach Parrish is the new Division II strikeout king.
Everyone's trying to step and cheer, and then it kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, wow, that's really it right there. Records are meant to be broke, so who knows how long mine will stay up there, but I'm just enjoying the moment right now.
For Zach to be able to do it at home, it's great, and what an accomplishment, something that everybody, our guys and Zach obviously will remember forever. So awesome accomplishment. Zach is such a hard worker. He's so deserving of it, and just great to see it.
In Game 2, Rogers State wins at 7-2 after scoring 5 runs in the 8th. The two teams will wrap up the 3-game series tomorrow afternoon. The Pittsburg State Gorillas kick off their final series today with a doubleheader against Emporia State. In the third, check it out, Cruz Aranda over the right field wall. 2-run homer, Gorillas on the board. Now next batter, Ryan Koval follows suit, makes it back-to-back jacks. That one in the same direction, PSU within 1. Later, Sam Chaput line drive up the middle for the base hit. 2-run score. Big inning for the Hornets. They take a 10-3 lead. A last effort in the 9th, Brett Daly. 2-run homer out to left center. Makes it a 1-run ball game, but Emporia State would finish a tight one. Hornets win it 11-10. Game 2 didn't go that well for the Gorillas. Hornets take it 11-4. The series finale is tomorrow afternoon at 1. Well, it's playoff time for the Missouri Southern softball team. Southern has a 3-game series against Missouri Western to kick off the quarterfinal round of the MIAA Conference Tournament. Now, the Lions are the number 3 seed after going 28-13-1 in the regular season. Now, they went down 4-0 in the top of the second, but here they come. Kara Amos all the way out to the fence in center. Ashlyn Williams scores the Lions' first run. Moments later, first and third for Yasmin Vargas. Great piece of hitting there, scores Adriana Young. Then, Michaela Linhart back up the middle. Ball bounces away. Sydney Hurst scores. Game tied up. Finally, check this out. Big day for this young lady, Leighton Withers. Bases loaded. I thought she had a grand slam off the fence. Withers clears the bases. Lions score 7 in the second to take a 3-run lead. Southern hangs on to win Game 1, 7-5. Game 2, Southern trying to end the series in 2, and check it out, they did it. Leighton Withers, 2-run walk-off, gives the Lions a 3-2 win. They now wait for the winner of Central Missouri Washburn. That series wraps up tomorrow. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Register today for Joplin Humane.
Vice President Kamala Harris held a virtual meeting with Mexico's president as the Secretary of Homeland Security toured a migrant facility near the border. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more on the Biden administration's latest efforts to tackle the surge of migrants.
This is where all of the processing takes place.
In a tour of a migrant facility used for surge overflow, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said there's been compelling progress over the past month.
Today at this facility, rather than approximately 3,700 unaccompanied children, there are 334.
The Biden administration says the amount of time spent in these facilities is down 75% too, before the children are transferred to the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Immigration, and including irregular migration, is a very dynamic challenge. And therefore, the challenge is not entirely behind us, though we have accomplished a great deal.
This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris, whom the president has chosen to lead the administration's diplomatic efforts, spoke with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Today, they announced a package that includes trade and business development missions to Mexico and talked about a potential bilateral effort against migrant smuggling and human trafficking.
It is in our country's mutual interest to provide immediate relief to the Northern Triangle and to address the root causes of migration.
But some say the president is partly to blame for relaxing border security.
I think what's most concerning is obviously we see the situation going on at the border, not enforcing the rule of law on the border.
Vice President Kamala Harris, who's been criticized for not yet heading to the southern border, is expected to visit Mexico and Guatemala next month. In Washington, Mal Rivera, Fox News.
When we come back, going to preview a new movie, a family movie about a boy's mission to save his mother. The new movie, The Waterman, looks to bring an adventure with a lot of heart the whole family can enjoy and discuss. Plus, the film also marking a big first for one of its stars. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
I'm going to find the Waterman.
A new family adventure in theaters, The Waterman, is about a boy trying to save his ill mother by seeking a mythical figure with healing powers.
Did it feel like an adventure while you were making it?
Definitely the woods. I mean, the woods was a whole adventure by itself. We had to hike up hills. We had to go down mountains.
I'm gonna find him.
David Oyelowo first joined as producer and actor. Then the chance to make it his feature directorial debut came along.
It reminded me of the films I loved growing up. E.T. being the most formative, Stand By Me being another, The Never-Ending Story, The Goonies.
Being a father also inspired him.
Seeing what my kids gravitate towards and seeing where they're being underserved as well. There's a lot of entertainment for them, but not all of it. In fact, very little of it has real meaning, like a morality tale, a cautionary tale, something that you can sort of have a debate about, a conversation about.
Where do we go when we die?
Rosario Dawson appreciates the story, including bigger themes as well.
You're not patronizing the protagonists because they're young. You're actually pointing out their wisdom while at the same time seeing the handicaps of the elders around them who sometimes lose their focus and lose their way.
As for directing, Oyelowo drew from past projects.
In my 20-year career, I don't think there's a single director, a single film that I wasn't a part of where I wasn't gleaning information, gleaning education, because I knew I wanted to do this at some point.
And now the same goes for his young star.
I'm actually kind of inspired by Mr. David, and I think that I might come out with a little director debut myself, who knows?
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with a bear taking a bath at an Oregon zoo. Have a great, safe weekend that may or may not include a few baths of your own. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.